Hello, Bronco fans and football fans everywhere. Welcome to Broncos Breakdown on the MHRT Network. This is a show that is everything Broncos and sports topics related. I'm your host, Bronco Bill. All right, guys, we got a lot of really good different directions to go into. We got a very sad note, an update on a former NFL player passing away. We got that. I also have, obviously, Colorado Avalanche update. So let's get started. Baker Mayfield. Now, Baker Mayfield has been traded to the Carolina Panthers for a 2024 fifth-round draft pick. This opens the door for Deshaun Watson, if not suspended, to start game one for the Cleveland Browns. Wow. It took Cleveland that long to trade Baker Mayfield. I mean, Mayfield was rumored to go to Seattle. He was rumored to go to Pittsburgh. He's been rumored to go to a lot of places. He ends up in Carolina. Now, what does that say for the starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers? I don't know. It's probably going to be a quarterback, not committee, but it's going to be a, who's the best quarterback? Who's going to take the number one spot? Baker Mayfield wasn't happy in Cleveland, and obviously for good reasons. He wasn't treated well there. I personally don't think he's a great quarterback. I really don't. He's doable. He's viable. He does, he does win some games, and he is a good, solid quarterback. Franchise, in my opinion, no, absolutely not. To me, a franchise quarterback is a quarterback that can lead your team where they respect you, and they will go through a brick wall, so to speak, that saying, go through a brick wall for you, do what they ever have to do to, have your back, literally and figuratively. I don't think the Cleveland Browns players felt that way for Baker Mayfield. And the main reason why I say that is because, like I said, number one, you have to be a leader. Number two, they have to respect you, and they want to have your back, literally and figuratively, like I mentioned. Third one is you've got to win your division and or wild card and playoff games. Yeah, I know that whole thing. Yes, you have to win playoff games. You have to get to the Super Bowl, in my opinion, to be a franchise quarterback. Now, to win it, not necessarily. That doesn't always happen. Look at Fran Tarkenton. I know that there's a lot of guys out there that are watching this show and maybe listening to it that don't know who Fran Tarkenton was. Well, Fran Tarkenton was a franchise quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings back in the 70s. Fran Tarkenton led the Vikings to 4 Super Bowls. Yes, the Vikings lost all 4, unfortunately, for them. But what I'm saying is he was a franchise quarterback. He was able to take his team to the Super Bowl, multiple playoffs, multiple divisions won. That's what I'm talking about. I don't see Baker Mayfield as being that guy. Did I see it from John Elway? Absolutely. Peyton Manning? Oh, you betcha. Russell Wilson? Let's just hope he follows in the same footsteps as Elway and Manning. That's my hope. But going back to Baker Mayfield, I don't feel he's that type of guy. To me, he kind of rubs me the wrong way. He seems a little arrogant and kind of maybe childish at times. And I don't like that. I don't like that in my quote, franchise quarterback. And the reason why I say quotes is because I don't see Baker Mayfield as a franchise quarterback. But it's interesting that it took Cleveland that long to get the deal done and for Carolina to be the team that gets Baker Mayfield. It'd be interesting to see how he plays in the NFC as opposed to the AFC. All right, let's go to Deshaun Watson. Watson's hearing has finished and the result is in the judge's hands. Pro Football Focus has reiterated that they would not be surprised if Watson is not suspended at all. The National Football League Players Association is pushing for no suspension. Well, of course they are. That's one of their guys. It's like a fraternity. It's like a frat house. You don't want any one of your members being suspended. They don't want that at all. But I found it interesting, though, that now Pro Football Focus has a feeling that they wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't suspended. Another interesting twist on this is that the judge is female. You would think, and I know they're not supposed to do this. I understand that. They're not supposed to be biased. They're not supposed to say, well, hey, I'm female, so I'm going to side with the females. They're not supposed to do that. They're supposed to look at the evidence like jurors are. Okay? That's the way it's supposed to be. So that's why I found it interesting that Pro Football Focus feels that they would not be surprised if Watson didn't get any suspension. The NFL is pushing for at least 1 year. At least 1 year. Well, in this situation, what has come to light in this Deshaun Watson case, or the cases against him, I should say, is the NFL is pushing for 1 game. Pro Football Focus feels that there's no suspension coming, or possibly, or wouldn't be surprised. That being said, the judge could come back and say, okay, I'm looking at the NFL's desire of 1 year suspension. Looking at the National Football League Players Association as not wanting any suspension. Okay, I'm going to do a middle ground. There's 17 games in the NFL season now, so you can't have a right down the middle. So they could choose 8. They could choose 9. I don't know. But I feel that Baker Mayfield, I feel that Deshaun Watson is going to get a suspension, most likely in between the 1 year that the NFL wants to give him and the no suspension that the Players Association wants to happen. That's what I feel. It's got to be somewhere in the middle. You've got to punish him somehow, some way, because these were allegations, and obviously there has been some truth to it, or it wouldn't have gotten this far. So now it's in the judge's hand. I feel it's going to be at least minimum of maybe 8 games or 9 games. But it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. Stay tuned. Okay, let's go to Jeudy. Now, we all remember, or hopefully, some of us may not remember, but Jeudy was injured last year with an ACL. He missed most of, if not the entire NFL season last year. He's now back, a lot more healthy, a lot stronger in that knee, and this is what he had to say. Jeudy says the Broncos will be very explosive, in quotes, very explosive, with Russell Wilson. Jeudy continued, and I quote, "Every detail matters with Wilson. You learn a lot just how hard he works and how focused he is when he's on the field and on the blackboard. I feel like all the pieces we needed, so we just got to put it all together. And I'm excited that it is going to happen." End quote. Wow. Jeudy has this feeling that all the pieces of the Broncos Super Bowl championship run is in place because of Russell Wilson being the quarterback. I totally agree with that. Absolutely, totally agree with that. One thing I don't agree with, and that is his last part of his quote, and I quote again, "And I'm excited that this is going to happen." End quote. Reason why I have a problem with that is I don't think it's going to happen the first year Russell Wilson is a Broncos quarterback. I know a lot of you guys are saying, "Oh, come on, Bronco Bill. Really? We got all the pieces. We got all the horses." No pun intended. We have all the guys we need in place. We just needed a franchise quarterback. That's true. I will agree with that 100%. What I'm saying is what I don't agree with, I don't feel it's going to be the first year. Peyton Manning came to, I know it's a different situation. Peyton Manning had neck surgery. I get that, okay? I'm just talking quarterback, franchise quarterback. That's what I'm talking about. You take Peyton Manning when he first came to Denver. They didn't go to the Super Bowl the first year. Sure, they won their division. Absolutely, they won their division. They won their division 4 straight years as Manning quarterback. But they didn't go to the Super Bowl in his first year. They went in his second and in his fourth. So, yes, Russell Wilson is younger. Russell Wilson is very gifted and extremely awesome, incredible quarterback. I get that. I just don't feel that the first year is going to be the year the Broncos go to the Super Bowl with Russell Wilson as quarterback. I know Jeudy's positive. He has to be. He wants to be. He's excited about coming back on the football field. I mean, would you want to come back if you still had Drew Lock and you're coming off of an ACL and ACL tear and you want to get back on the field and it's still Drew Lock? Would you be happy? I know for a fact I wouldn't be if I was in that situation. Absolutely not. But you get a Russell Wilson and now you're going, oh my gosh, we got myself. Jerry Jeudy saying this. We got myself. We got Cortland Sutton, KJ Hamler. We have the new kids on the block. I know that's a reference to a band. I get it. But we got all these pieces. But Jerry, I'm just saying, I don't feel it's going to be year one of Russell Wilson as a Denver Broncos quarterback. I'm not saying we're not going to go to the Super Bowl. Oh, you betcha. I feel deep down in my heart, in my soul, in my Bronco enthusiasm, we're going to go to the Super Bowl. I just don't believe and feel it's going to be year one, Russell Wilson, a Bronco quarterback in 2022. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Okay, let's go to, speaking of Russell Wilson, let's go to Russell and Ciara. This is interesting, and I'm glad that they're doing this, okay? Here it is. Russell and Ciara Wilson are enjoying time away from a very busy offseason for their entire family. Now, you guys got to remember, Russell Wilson was in Seattle right after the season. And then the trade came. The Broncos get Russell Wilson, and the Broncos give up multiple draft choices and players. Okay? So he's had to transition from Seattle. He's had to say goodbye to his friends, his acquaintances, whatever people he knows there. He had to say goodbye to them. He had to pack up his things. He had to make arrangements with his family to get to Denver. He also had to make arrangements for getting a house in Colorado. All of these things he had to do in a very, very short time. Then there's these OTAs. And now he's doing these OTAs. Well, before the OTAs, he took some of his receivers and went to a home that he has in San Diego, just south of where I'm at. And he worked out with his receivers. That's it on his own time. That's him wanting to say and show them, hey, I mean business, guys. I came here to win games. I mean business. So if you want to be part of that, let's head to San Diego and let's get some work done. He's done that. He's done involuntary OTAs. He's done mandatory OTAs. He's done mandatory 3-day workouts. And now he's taking a breather, a time away, a time to regroup with his wife. It didn't mention anything about the kids. I'm assuming, well, you know what happens when you assume, but what I'm saying is I would just bet my bottom dollar that they went by themselves. And the main reason why I say that is they need time alone. This transition has not been easy for them. I can imagine. I mean, I've moved several times and it's not easy, even when you plan. But when you don't know what's going on and then it hits you and you've got to make these adjustments in these plans, yeah, it takes a little bit of a stress. I shouldn't say it takes a little bit. It takes a lot of stress at that point in time. But you need to get away, not only from the work, but you need to get away sometimes from your own kids. So here's what they did. Both Russell and Ciara have been taking trips to England and attended Wimbledon tennis match. Before that, they were in Cairns. If that isn't enough, they ran into legendary Paul McCartney at St. Bart's. To wrap up their time away, hang on, let me back up. To wrap up their time away, they took in a Formula One race in France. Must be nice to be Russell Wilson, Ciara, huh? Must be nice. Going to a Wimbledon match, people were coming, I saw pictures where people were coming up to them and shaking their hand and just talking. Why? Well, first off, Ciara is a celebrity. I mean, she's worldwide celebrity. And Russell Wilson is no slouch himself. Absolutely no slouch. But for them to get away, take time, get out of the United States, go to places that they may not get recognized. Well, Ciara probably will be. But nonetheless, I mean, to be able to take in Wimbledon, to run into at a very, very fancy, romantic dining establishment in Paul McCartney, must be nice, huh? And then to take in a Formula One race in France. That's what I call the good life. And for them to relax, like I said, to get away, to kind of let the stress roll off their back before Russell Wilson goes back to work, gets refocused, and puts all of its energy into the 2022 season. That's what I find extremely heartwarming. Because if you think about it, you know, if you grind too hard and you work too hard and you don't take any time for yourself, it can get you into a rut. It can what's the word I'm looking for? Can't think of it right now. But you know, when it's the same thing, and you just get burnout. You know, I mean, he could get burned out. He needs to take time for himself. He needs to take time for himself and his wife, and do fun things like Wimbledon and a Formula One race, and then a romantic dining establishment, and all of a sudden you run into Paul McCartney. That is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. So I'm really happy for them. Really happy for them. All right, guys, I got to bring you up on a sad note. I really, like I've mentioned before in shows past, I don't like bringing these. This is an update to a passing of last year, and here it is. Former Broncos great Demaryius Thomas had stage 2 CTE when he passed away last December. Now, CTE, before I get into the rest of it, CTE is a brain disorder from being hit traumatically about your head. Well, what do football players have happen to them almost every play? They either get tackled and their head hits the ground, their head hits a shoulder pad, their head hits a knee, their head hits anything. And over and over and over, not only just in one game or one season, but an entire career. That takes a toll. And they're finding out more and more that it's happening in younger and younger players. Younger players. I've mentioned many times these young players that have passed away. And no, they didn't specifically say it was CTE, but their mannerism was the CTE type. Where they're confused or they're depressed or their mood swings, whatever. That is all attributed to CTE. So let me continue. Compounded along with the CTE was complications from a car crash. It was confirmed by a doctor that Thomas struggled with erratic behavior, memory loss, and paranoia. There you go. Any one of those singularly, you take erratic behavior. That's bad enough to warn an attention or to get somebody paying attention saying, hey, something's not right with him. Memory loss. Well, that could also be dementia that leads into Alzheimer's. Yes, but at a young age, no. Only CTE can bring that on. And then you have paranoia. Well, a lot of people have paranoia, might not have CTE. That could be caused by illegal drugs. Absolutely. I'm not saying that Demaryius Thomas did anything illegal as far as drug-wise or anything else. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that people that do have paranoia and don't have CTE, it can come from other sources. But one would think, you would try and get help for Demaryius Thomas if you saw any of these behaviors. Well, I don't know. Maybe they can mask it really well. I'm not sure. Junior Seau, a former, at the time, San Diego Chargers, he committed suicide. He had CTE. He had depression. He had suicidal thoughts. And then he did it. So CTE is very, very serious, guys. Very, very serious. I don't know what the NFL is going to do about this. I mean, I understand that these players want to play football. It's a passion they have. It's a love that they have. It's something they've been doing ever since they were, knee-high to a grasshopper, so to speak. Playing Pee-wee, Pop Warner, all those things. I understand that. And then when it comes to the NFL, it has to do with the money and the fame and the glory or whatever. It has to do with all those things that drive these guys. And then they think, CTE, it's not going to happen to me. It's not going to happen. Yeah, I know a bunch of my buddies it hadn't happened to. Doesn't matter. It happens. And it can happen to you. I don't know what the NFL is going to do about this. I don't know if they're going to do anything about it. Because again, it's the money that drives the players. And it's the money that drives the NFL. Very, very sad news to hear that DT had stage 2 CTE. Very, very sad. I absolutely hate to bring this type of news. I really do. I wish I wouldn't. But it's newsworthy and it's Broncos worthy, and I had to bring it. All right. Let's go to an interesting. This is extremely interesting. Ryan Leaf and Peyton Manning. More like water and vinegar. They don't mix. Well, they didn't mix in this article either. Here we go. A letter from 1998 has surfaced involving Ryan Leaf and Peyton Manning. The letter was a request from Hunter S. Thompson, a journalist who was asked to lend money to Jim Irsay so Irsay could sign Peyton Manning. Now, Thompson refused because he wanted Irsay to draft Ryan Leaf. Thompson said in the letter, and I quote, "Let me know if you need some money for Ryan Leaf. I expect to be very, very rich when the Depp movie comes out. Your faithful consultant, Hunter Thompson." Looks like Irsay made the correct call in drafting Peyton Manning. What I find interesting is apparently this journalist put a lot of money or had something involved with the movie that Johnny Depp was in at that point in time, 1998. And he was expecting to get several millions of dollars from that movie. Well, it turns out the movie only made $13 million. That was way less than he could have paid Irsay, or not paid, but loaned Irsay the money that he needed to sign. But he said, "I'll give you the money." Basically, he said, "If you tell me, let me know." Let me go back to this. And I quote again. "Let me know if you need some money for Ryan Leaf. I expect to be very, very rich when the Depp movie comes out. Your faithful consultant, Hunter Thompson." End quote. That's what I'm saying. He wanted the Colts to take Ryan Leaf. Now, was Thompson a journalist for the then San Diego Chargers? I don't know. But Ryan Leaf ended up going to the Chargers because Peyton Manning's brother, Eli Manning, would not play for the Chargers. Said that if you draft me, I will not play for you. So what happened was the Chargers said, "Okay, fine," and they took Ryan Leaf, and the Colts took Eli Manning, and the rest is history. I find that extremely interesting that this guy was willing to loan Irsay money so that he could and would sign Ryan Leaf. He didn't take the money, and obviously Ryan Leaf ended up as a Charger and a mess. Peyton Manning goes to the Colts, then to the Broncos, and we get another Super Bowl. Very, very interesting. That's what I found, for sure. All right, let's go to Hall of Fame. 3 former Broncos players and coaches are among the 54 semifinalists for the class of 2023 Hall of Fame inductions. They are Randy Gradishar, Dan Reeves, and Mike Shanahan. The next step comes for these 3 on July 27th, when the Hall of Fame will announce the 12 seniors and 12 coaches and or contributors as finalists. It's about time. It's absolutely about time that Randy Gradishar, Dan Reeves, and Mike Shanahan have even been considered Hall of Fame worthy. Are you kidding me? It's taken this long. Really. Randy Gradishar was an amazing linebacker. Amazing linebacker. When he was on the field, he would not stop. I mean, he would run over people to get to the running back or to get to the quarterback if he's scrambling. Randy Gradishar was an amazing, amazing player. Dan Reeves, what can you say about him? I mean, he literally took the Broncos to multiple AFC championship games, multiple Super Bowls. Sure, they lost them under Dan Reeves. That's not his fault directly. Not at all. He can put in a game plan, just might not get executed. But you also remember that when the Broncos made those Super Bowls, they were underdogs on all of them. They played teams like the Cowboys who were in their glory days. They played who they played? They played the Giants. They played the Giants in their glory days. They played San Francisco with Joe Montana and Jerry Rice. I mean, come on. The Broncos under Dan Reeves, when they went to the Super Bowl, they caught the wrong team at the wrong time. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. But you cannot take away what Dan Reeves has done. You can't. And I don't understand why it's taken the Hall of Fame this long to come around to these 3 guys. And then you got Mike Shanahan. What did he do? Oh, not much. Not much at all. Just went back-to-back Super Bowl 97-98, Super Bowl 32 and 33. He led the Broncos to multiple playoff games, multiple championship games, back-to-back Super Bowl championships. And it's taken him this long to even be considered in the top 54? I don't understand the snubbing that the Denver Broncos are getting from the Hall of Fame committee. I absolutely don't get it. Randy Gradishar, Rod Smith, Mike Shanahan, Dan Reeves. I mean, there's a host of other ones. You've got Dennis Smith. I mean, why aren't these guys even considered? Well, I mean, obviously the 3 I mentioned are, about time. But it's taken this long. Why? What are they saying? Oh, it's because of the altitude. That's why they win all those games. Yeah, right. Come on. The 3 Super Bowls they won wasn't played in Denver. Championships that they had to play on the road in New England and other places. Cleveland. They're not altitude. So enough of making excuses. I don't know if that's their thought process. It's certainly mine. And of course it's mine, because what other reason? Oh, they weren't good enough? Well, come on. Look at their stats. Look what they've done. What do you mean they're not good enough? Well, there's other players that we have to consider more. Why? Why do you have to consider more? Why? I sure hope that at least 2 of these Bronco semifinalists, Randy Gradishar, Dan Reeves, and Mike Shanahan, are in the Hall of Fame. Absolutely. You can't have all 3. That's never going to happen. But they could have Randy Gradishar, Dan Reeves, and or Mike Shanahan. Absolutely. And I want to see that happen. Enough is enough. Bronco players need to be in the Hall of Fame with the accomplishments that they've done. Go back and look at these guys and get it right. Hall of Fame committee. Get it right. Don't screw this up this year. All right. Let's go to the last segment in my show for today. Here it is. All right, the Stanley Cup. Now, according to 9 News in Denver, the Stanley Cup was delivered to Captain Gabriel Landeskog's neighbor's house by mistake. After the Colorado Avalanche championship win, they always deliver the Stanley Cup to the captain of the winning team. Oops. Except this time. It goes to Gabriel Landeskog's neighbors. However, the people who were transporting the Stanley Cup, supposedly to Gabriel Landeskog's house, inadvertently went next door to their neighbor. Well, they were kind enough to allow his neighbors to take pictures with the trophy. It was still in the case, but they opened up the case and they were allowed to take pictures with the Stanley Cup, and they were allowed to touch it. So that was pretty cool. Then they finally delivered the Stanley Cup to Gabriel Landeskog himself. I find that interesting because, man, imagine yourself. You're sitting at home, watching TV, whatever. You watch the Stanley Cup Finals. You're a big Avalanche fan, and you're like, man, that'd be so cool if I could just see the Stanley Cup. It'd be so cool. And what if you didn't know the Stanley Cup was delivered to the captain of the championship team that year? What if you didn't know that? And all of a sudden you get this knock on your door, and you're like, "Wow, wonder who that is." Not expecting any company or anything. You go to the door, and they're like, "Hi, we're here to deliver the Stanley Cup." And you go, "Whoa, cool! What do you mean deliver the Stanley Cup?" Yeah, we're delivering to Captain Gabriel Landeskog. Oh, he lives next door. But before you take it over there, can we see it? Can we get pictures with it? And they were cool enough to allow them to take pictures with it. I think that is awesome. I think that is totally, totally cool that they would do that. I mean, you talk about a memory. Oh my gosh. If that happened to me, I would hope I would not faint from excitement or have hyperventilate from excitement, or as Madungas may say, have a heart attack because I'm older. But anyways, I would hope that I would, something like that would ever happen. Not going to, man, I can just imagine the excitement and the joy that those neighbors of Gabriel Landeskog felt. All right, part B of the Avalanche update is this. After winning the Stanley Cup, Joe Sakic has made a trade. With Darcy Kuemper, an unrestricted free agent, Joe Sakic has traded 3 draft picks for Rangers goalie Alexander Georgiev. I hope I'm saying that right. His save percentage in his career is .908. He was the backup to Igor Shesterkin. I don't like this. I don't like this a bit. Not at all. Not at all. No, I understand that he's 26 years old. Alexander Georgiev or whatever. I understand he's 26. And I know that Darcy Kuemper is 32 or 33. I understand that. Darcy Kuemper was our championship goalie. Alexander G was a backup to Igor Shesterkin. Why are we trading for a backup when we have Darcy Kuemper? Why not just re-sign Darcy Kuemper? Okay, he's older. I get it. But sign him for another year or two. And then if you want to make a trade, get this guy as a backup. But we already have Pavel Francouz as a backup, and he signed a 2-year deal. So he's not going anywhere. I don't know what Joe Sakic has up his sleeve, but I'm not liking it. We gave up draft picks for this backup goalie. I don't like it. I don't like it. I would rather keep the pieces in the way they are. Yes, I understand that when you win a championship, you're going to lose players because you can't pay everybody. I get that. But not your starting goalie. Not the goalie that you traded Arizona to get to win this championship. Now you're going to let him walk? Sure, he may be unrestricted, but make him restricted. Sign him. Joe Sakic, what are you doing? I know you're intelligent. I know you have something up your sleeve. I just don't understand this move at all. Just don't understand. Hopefully I will. Hopefully down the road, I understand why you did it. As of today, with the news, I don't get it. That's it, guys. That's all I have. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you haven't, please subscribe. Hit the thumbs up. Like what you see and tell your friends, please. It's a lot of joy that you guys are supporting, and I greatly appreciate it. Before I step away, let me mention the other shows that are on the MHRT Network. On Tuesday, we have the 5280 podcast. That features Madungus Creevy, Glenn Hauser, Boggins, Bree, and Cam. That goes live every Tuesday, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then on Wednesday, we have the Wild Wild West, and that features a fan from every AFC West team: Broncos, Raiders, Chargers, and Chiefs. That goes live every 4:30, 5:30, 6:30, and 7:30. And then again, on Friday, my show is going to be moved, possibly. I'll give details about that later. But as of right now, it's Friday, and it drops at 11, 12, 1, and 2 on the MHRT Network. That drops Broncos Breakdown, hosted by me, Bronco Bill. Thanks again, guys, for watching. Thanks for your support. Enjoy the rest of your week and weekend, and we will talk to you next week. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.